Welcome back to another explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be guiding you through today's topic. So, we're looking at a country that is so often stereotyped as just a backpacker's paradise or maybe an adventurous solo trekker's dream. But today, we are reframing it entirely. We're going to explore exactly how you can navigate Vietnam safely, comfortably, and joyfully as a family. And yes, hopefully without a single meltdown. Whether you're bringing along an energetic toddler, a famously hard-to-impress teenager, or grandparents who just prefer a much gentler pace, we are going to break down how this incredibly vibrant country genuinely caters to multi-generational travel.
Look, right off the bat, I have to share this quote straight from our source material. This is from a real traveler, Kavitha from the UK, who recently visited. She says, "Me, my husband, and our 4-year-old traveled to Vietnam, and we had a fantastic experience." I'm putting this right at the beginning because, let's be real, the biggest hurdle to family travel in Southeast Asia is usually just the anxiety of the unknown. We picture chaotic streets, right? We imagine these long, exhausting, bumpy bus rides. But glowing reviews like this one, they instantly dispel those fears. Bringing young kids to Vietnam isn't just doable, it's honestly a phenomenal experience when you plan it correctly.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Why Vietnam for families. 2. Top destinations for all ages. 3. Activities everyone will love. 4. Traveling safely and comfortably. And 5. Essential planning tips. Starting with Section 1. Why Vietnam for families? Let's look at the high-level appeal and some reassurance.
You know, over the last decade or so, Vietnam has undergone a truly massive evolution. It has completely transformed from this rugged, off-the-beaten-path spot into a premier, highly comfortable destination perfectly suited for multi-generational trips. And a huge part of that appeal, it really comes down to safety. Our sources give Vietnam a solid 8 out of 10 for safety, specifically pointing out that violent crime is incredibly rare there. For parents, for grandparents, that just provides immense peace of mind. Now, obviously, you still need to be mindful of basic things like petty theft in crowded tourist areas, but honestly, you do the exact same thing in Paris or Rome. The overall environment is remarkably secure.
What's really fascinating here is how Vietnam brilliantly pairs exotic cultural immersion with modern high-end comforts. You really don't have to rough it to experience the culture. You're stepping into a deeply welcoming society that inherently respects elders and families. And what that means for you is locals will frequently go out of their way to help if you've got young kids or older parents in tow. Plus, you have access to these incredible 5-star luxury colonial hotels, like the Sofitel Legend Metropole in Hanoi, and this flawless blend of vibrant city energy alongside relaxing world-class beaches. It's totally the best of both worlds. Moving right along to Section 2, Top Destinations for All Ages. We're curating a highlight reel of the most accessible regions.
So, Vietnam is massive. It's over 1,000 miles from north to south. You literally cannot see it all in one trip without completely burning out, and that goes double when you're traveling with a family. So take a look at this 14-day itinerary. This represents the ultimate family-paced flow. Notice how relaxed the structure is. We are allocating 3 to 4 days per major hub. You start up north with the culture of Hanoi and the incredible scenery of Ha Long Bay. Then you fly down to the center for the ancient streets of Hoi An and the beaches of Da Nang. Next up is the dynamic history of Ho Chi Minh City and the Mekong Delta down south. And then you cap the whole thing off with pure tropical relaxation on the island of Phu Quoc. By spending multiple days in each spot, you just completely eliminate the exhaustion of constantly packing and unpacking.
Now, if there is one place on that timeline that families just universally adore, it is Hoi An. Our sources perfectly describe this central coastal town as giving you permission to do nothing. I love that phrasing. The pace is beautifully slow. You could spend the morning taking a really leisurely cooking class together, and then spend the whole afternoon just reading by the river or chilling at a beach club. It's entirely valid to just exist and enjoy your surroundings here. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of breathing room a multi-generational family needs right in the middle of a big trip.
All right, Section 3, Activities everyone will love. We are bridging that generational gap with some fantastic low-exertion experiences.
And this brilliantly illustrates how easily you can map out high-reward, low-stress cultural activities literally all across the country. Up in the north, you can just sit back and watch a 1,000-year-old water puppet show, which is this incredibly unique theatrical performance that actually originated in the rice paddies. In the central region, the whole family can sit down together for a traditional foldable lantern-making class in Hoi An.
super hands-on but totally relaxed. And in the south, you can peacefully glide through the Mekong Delta on a traditional sampan rowboat. It's maximum cultural immersion with absolutely zero physical strain. But hey, what about the really big bucket list items? This brings up a super common travel anxiety. People always ask, is a massive natural wonder like Halong Bay actually worth the trip when you're managing kids or elderly parents? I mean, the drive from Hanoi, the tourist crowds, it sounds pretty exhausting, right? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. But the solution to avoiding all that exhaustion is booking a 2-day, 1-night luxury cruise. Seriously, do not do a rush day trip. Just skip it. By booking an overnight cruise, you turn what could be an exhausting transit day into a peaceful, all-inclusive floating hotel experience. The kids can go kayak in secluded lagoons. The grandparents can enjoy a cooking class or maybe just get a tranquil massage on the deck. And then you all get to come together to witness this spectacular sunset over the Karst Mountains without fighting a single crowd. It is just a massive multi-generational win. Moving into Section 4, traveling safely and comfortably. Let's talk about the actual logistics of getting around with ease. Okay, so here is an absolutely crucial point. Families must skip the backpacker buses. Taking a bus or train from Hanoi all the way down to the Central Coast, that can take 14 to 18 grueling hours. A domestic flight takes an hour and a half. Look, for family travel, your time and your sanity are literally your most valuable resources. You want everyone to arrive refreshed and ready to explore, not dealing with 3 cranky generations after a bumpy, sleepless night on a bus. And you know what the best part is? It won't even break your budget. Domestic flights in Vietnam on carriers like Vietjet or Bamboo Airways generally run between $40 and $80 if you book them a few weeks out. That is an insanely low price range to save yourselves over a dozen hours of travel time per leg. Upgrading your comfort between these major regions is without a doubt the single best investment you can make for your family's overall mood on the trip. Now, when you are actually inside the cities, the traffic can look, well, incredibly intimidating. Millions of motorbikes buzzing around everywhere. To navigate this safely, you absolutely need to download the Grab app. It is essentially Southeast Asia's equivalent to Uber. This is hands down the single best way to get your family around safely. You get set prices right on your phone, it entirely avoids any haggling or weird taximeter scams, and a clean, air-conditioned car comes right to you. It is a total game changer. And finally, Section 5, Essential Planning Tips. Let's run through a final checklist for a completely frictionless journey. First up is actually getting into the country. Vietnam has modernized its entry process beautifully. They have this new e-visa system available to all citizens. You simply hop online, apply, pay a $25 fee, and then you just wait for your digital approval before you fly. When you land, you present the e-visa at immigration. That's it. It's a highly streamlined, frictionless entry that totally saves you from dealing with confusing paperwork at the airport while trying to wrangle tired kids. And to keep your day-to-day absolutely seamless, keep these rapid-fire tips from our sources in mind. First, crossing those busy, motorbike-filled streets feels like a massive leap of faith, right? But the trick is to just walk slowly and steadily. Don't dart around. The traffic will literally flow around you like water around a rock. Second, always carry small bills of Vietnamese dong for little purchases, because street vendors often don't have change. Third, strictly stick to bottled water, even for brushing your teeth, just to keep everyone's stomachs happy. Fourth, pack light. You're going to be taking a few domestic flights, so fewer bags means much easier transitions. And finally, use the Google Translate app. English isn't as widely spoken once you get outside the main tourist hubs, so this app will beautifully bridge the language gap and really show the locals that you're making an effort. So what does this all mean for you? By focusing on smart logistics, comfortable accommodations, and perfectly paced activities, Vietnam truly reveals itself to be an incredibly welcoming, fascinating, and, most importantly, easy-to-manage destination for all ages. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. Are you ready to trade your travel anxiety for an absolutely unforgettable, multi-generational adventure? Because I promise you, Vietnam is ready for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy travels!